Alright, I'm going to tie this BWO Tantrum with a CDC wing. I've got a size 16 in the vise, and the thread I'm using is 18.0 Spyder thread from Simperfly. Adjust my light just a little bit there. And we want to keep the tag ripped off in the thorax area so we don't build up any extra or an unevenness or unnatural taper to the body, you could say, as we bring this down. And we want our thread reps to be pretty nice and consistent, and bring the thread until it lines up with the inside part of the throat. I'm going to drop this thread down and get it out of my way for the time being. Next, I'm going to grab a second bobbin that's loaded with some sheer 14.0 in this light olive color, and really just going to do the same thing over again. So it'll have a double underbody, and then the olive will be the final overbody. Really want to try to keep your thread flat and open here as we work this down. Okay. Next I want to get the tail, and I've just got some lemon barred wood duck. You can use duck flank or bronze mallarded work. You want the tail to be about the length of the shank. I'm just going to start this on the side, let it roll up into position with a couple of wraps. Oops, missed it on that one. And I'm just going to pull this until I get it to the length that I want, which again is about the length of the shank. That's pretty close. And now as I wrap this forward, we want to keep this on top for symmetry, and have nice thread turns working all the way up. This pattern's not super hard to tie. It can be a little tedious if you want to make it look good, though. Okay. Let me trim those out. And let's put a 3-turn whip finish in here. You don't want to get crazy with your whip finish here, because we want to be able to have a nice smooth thorax to wrap the hackle on. I'm just going to get a drop of super glue. Just to make sure that stays where I want it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my other bobbin that's got the black thread on it. I'm going to bring this up. And I really want to twist this until it becomes as fine as I can get it without it snapping. And you don't have to have it on a second bobbin to do the rib work. I just find it to be a little easier to control. And as we work forward, you want to try to ever so slightly increase the distance on the rib. You don't have to get super crazy here if you don't want to. Okay, and again I'm going to put another whip finish in. All right. Okay, and now I'm just going to work this thread back into towards the abdomen just a little bit. Next, what we need to do is get 4 CDC feathers, and you want 2 on both sides so that they're facing one another to get this flatness, so you've got the concave sides facing one another. And we're going to create the wing and the back wing at the same time. So we're just going to separate this. And it can be pretty difficult to get them all to line up and get bare stem. And we can trim what we need to down the road. So I'm going to put 3 turns in, light turns, loose turns. And just gently hold everything kind of in an up position and pull. And we want to keep it on the back of the fly, kind of in an upright position. That's pretty good. Now I want to trim this off with the barb. So you want to leave a little bit extra. And when you have them where you like them, we can start wrapping these in forward just through the thorax portion of the fly. Okay. I'm going to put another whip finish in. I don't do a lot of this whip finish as I go stuff, but it really does help on this particular pattern I found. Okay, now we're going to draw all these together, and we want to cut them out long enough. The goal is to have this front wing be the same distance as the shank as well. It's going to help balance the fly. If it's too long, it'll tilt, and if it's too short, it'll tilt. So we'll just cut it out like that. And you can actually groom this now and get rid of these fuzzies before you put the hackle in. It's a little bit easier to do than waiting till the very end, as you'll have that hackle in the way. I'm going to grab my pinch scissors for this part, I think. They're a little finer and can really get in there a little bit better. This pattern works really well when mayflies are hatching or blue-wing olives are hatching. In slower water, with the CDC, you can take it into a little bit faster water, but you don't want to get too crazy with it. Okay, so now we're going to shape the back wing before we put the hackle on. I'm just going to gently lift up and kind of trim at an angle, and the idea here is to make this represent like a mayfly wing. And it's just a little easier to do all this grooming now. But it's really easy to overdo at this point too, because you don't have your other hackle on to see what's going to happen. So you can do a little and then put your hackle on and see where it gets you, and then come in and just kind of polish it up at the very end. This part's a little tedious. You have to look quite right. That's getting pretty good. That's pretty good. I think it's a fuzz long, but we'll gauge that at the very end. Just gonna get some of this stuff right at the body. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Okay. Now for the hackle, I've just got some grizzly dyed, or I'm sorry, olive dyed grizzly. And I've stripped to one side. I don't normally do that, but on these smaller flies, we just don't need much hackle. And I'm going to line that up so that the short strip side just meets up with where that back wing starts. So as I come around, it should line up. We're pretty close to being pretty close to lining up. And I forgot to mention, when you're selecting your if you're pre-selecting your hackle, because we're increasing the diameter of the thorax by quite a bit on this pattern, you really want to downsize your hackle by probably 2. So this is a 16, and what I have on here is a size, basically a size 20 hackle. It's actually kind of between an 18 and a 20. And we don't have to get super crazy and overload this hackle either, because the CDC is what keeps this on top of the water. This is going to really just represent more like legs. Oops. Trying to capture that one more time. There we go. We can pull everything back and sneak the thread in front. A couple of turns. If you get some sticking out and it's messing with you, you can just put a half hitch in right here, and we can deal with the stem. Okay. And we're going to get rid of these before we whip finish. And having a little gap here at the head, that's fine. It's not going to make much difference. So you can actually just come right back on top and whip finish behind the false wing up front. Ooh. Got lucky there. And just to finish it off, we're going to add a little glue. Just want to be careful not to get it into that CDC and lock that up. That's good. And I've just got that thread that snapped on me just a fuzz before I wanted it to, so now I've got a little fray down there. It's really not a big deal. Just driving me crazy. No, I can't see it. I know it's there, but I can't see it. And we just do our final cleanup. You can kind of pull this hackle forward, make it look all nice again. And that's how you tie a stuck CDC wing Tantrum. First saw these in a fly tire magazine. The original didn't use a CDC wing, it just used some Antron or something like that. And that works really well too. But that's more of like a drowning emerger. So both kind of have a benefit. But if you tie these right, they should sit in the water just like this, just like it's tied. Seems like a lot's going on in that fly. There's really not a whole lot of material. It's just kind of a tedious little pattern that can work a real number. And you can change the colors up to imitate other mayflies as you need, or whatever your fishing conditions require at the time. So that's it. There you go. Thanks, Jody, for the suggestion on actually turning this into a video and not just a post. If you liked the video, as always, appreciate a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. And make sure you head over to flyvault.net and check that out. We've got that up and running, and that's something that we're bringing to the public. I want you to be a part of it. We think you'll find it very beneficial if you're a fly tyer or fly fisherman. And as always, everybody, happy tying, take care, and we'll see you next time.